This episode is sponsored by Jacobson Real Estate Company. Are you ready to find your dream home? Or maybe you're thinking about selling and want the best deal possible? Well, look no further. At Jacobson Real Estate Company, we make buying or selling your home smooth, stress-free, and exciting. With 50 plus years of experience and a deep knowledge of the Winona, Minnesota area market, we specialize in turning your real estate goals into reality. Whether it's finding that perfect neighborhood, negotiating top dollar for your property, or answering all of your questions along the way, we're here for you. Plus, with our personalized approach, you're not just a client, you're family. So why wait? Let Jacobson Real Estate Company open the door to your future. Call us today at 507-313-2716 or visit our website at jacobsonrealestatecompany.com. Because your next chapter starts here. Buy, sell, invest. Jacobson Real Estate Company. Welcome to this week's edition of Brews Cruise. I am your host, Chris Jacobson, and today I am joined by the creator behind the Average Dad cooking channel, Brandon Osburn. What started as a cooking in his kitchen with just a phone has grown into a community built around food, family, and real life, where he'll talk about his journey through sobriety and fitness, how cooking became both therapy and connection, and what it's like building a brand while being a dad, and where he's taking it next. So, Brandon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Happy to have you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And we talked about sobriety, and you said, hey, Sprite is a good one for me. So we'll crack open a couple Sprites here because you have a little bit of a journey of a sobriety journey, which is, I feel like there's a lot of that out there nowadays, and people are, you can crack it right into the mic if you want, man. That's that way everyone gets the refreshing sound of, ooh. Well, cheers, first of all. Cheers, Brandon. Now, I just introduced you, and we talked about that you have a sobriety journey, and I think that's one a lot of people talk about nowadays, which is good to talk about it because I feel like sometime back in, maybe not too long ago, but not too long ago, people probably didn't really talk much about in public. It was probably maybe like I'm ashamed of what of this, and I don't want to talk about it. But honestly, sometimes I think the best thing is just to talk about it. Yep. So, talk about your journey just a little bit here, because I have a feeling this is probably what kind of goes into what you just made, which is the Average Dad cooking channel. I have a feeling this might have been the turning point, but that's your story to tell. Yeah.
So I do like talking about it. I do like sharing it. I've had a lot of people come up to me and message me and tell me like, "Hey man, you've inspired me. I didn't think I'd be able to get out of this," because for the longest time. For me personally, it was just alcohol. I used to do harder stuff back in the day. I kind of dropped all of that, and then I was just drinking. And it's legal. I mean, everybody does it. It's so, it's just everywhere. It's on, you go to the airport, it's on signs, it's on commercials, it's on all these different things. It's celebrated, and it's not the worst thing in the world as long as you can control it. But there's just so many people like me who get into something and we just don't stop. I'd find myself every single day, I'd get off of work and I'd go take a right. I always say I work at RTP here. I'd take a right, go straight down to Midtown, and I'd grab shots and I'd go get my kids and stuff, get home, and then I'd start taking them. And by the time, I wouldn't get like wasted. I wouldn't be like blacked out drunk, but I'd be feeling pretty good.
Sure.
Have to go put the kids down and everything. Like it was all kind of revolved around that. And the more that I share my story, the more people that keep coming up and they're like, that sounds a lot like me. Like I still get up, I go to work, I wouldn't drink at work. I wasn't like that deep into like the pits, but I mean, as soon as I was done, that was the first thing that came to my mind. If we'd go out to anywhere, it would be like, where's the bar? Like, let me get over here. Oh, we're having dinner. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'd sneak off, go get me a shot or something,
Sure.
just stuff like that. So I love sharing the journey to be like, you can do it too. Like you're not alone. We've all, And I always tell people too that, you know, if you can control it, I don't have a problem. My wife drinks, you know, she's just not like a big drinker, but when she goes out, she likes to have a couple drinks. That doesn't bother me. We have alcohol at the house. It's not a big deal to me overall. It's just for me personally, it's something that I needed to stop doing. I needed to be more present. I needed to be with my kids. I needed to, you know, I was starting to feel just terrible. I'd wake up every morning and just like, it was the worst. I'd wake up into a nightmare, you know, like, and I would wake up and be like, oh, I didn't drink last night, did I? Oh, I did. This is why I feel like this, you know?
Sure.
And to the point where, like, when I wouldn't drink, I'd wake up in the morning and I would feel just so good. And then I would just go get a drink. Because, I mean, you know, especially on days off, it'd be like noon. And I'm like, you know, what's going on today? Oh, football's on. Oh, that means I got to go have a drink. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, the London game? Well, I guess 8:30 in the morning. That's not a bad time to crack open a brewski. You know what I mean? And again, I don't judge others for what they do. That's completely fine. Everybody has their own story, their own path. If they morning drink, it is what it is. If you can control it, by all means, you know, they say Jesus drank, you know, like, but Jesus wasn't an alcoholic. You know what I mean? So I love sharing my story to show people that number one, you're not alone, and number two, it is doable. It is to come out of that lifestyle. And, you know, I don't have it, again, everybody kind of does things differently. I just woke up one morning and said, I'm done. Like, I can't just keep doing this to myself. I did a challenge called 75 Hard. And then after that, I was like, what's the point of going back? You know?
Sure.
So
was that the turning point?
Yep. Yeah. That was the biggest thing was, I had a date planned out for 75 Hard because last year I was doing Tough Mudder and I was hiking the Grand Canyon, and my 75 Hard ended the day before Tough Mudder. And I figured if I do my 75 Hard, I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna rock this Tough Mudder, you know? So I was like, okay. And then 75 Hard is no alcohol, no mind-altering substances, work out twice a day, you know, eat a good meal every single day, drink a gallon of water. It's just this insane challenge. And I did it. I completed it. And yeah, that was the turning point of being like, well, if I just did that for that long, like it is funny because the year before this, last summer, we went and hiked some mountains in Colorado, and I had quit drinking then too, and I did my first half marathon. And when I got done with that half marathon, I was like, you know, it's been 90 days, I've dried out, like I can drink. And I told my wife that, I'm like, I'll be fine, like it's not a big deal, I'll have a couple beers, I'll be fine. And I spiraled right back into it. Like it was that morning, I drank some, I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. Woke up the next day, didn't feel too bad, and then every day, all the way up until the 75 Hard challenge, and then I was just like, this has got to stop. I can't control it, you know.
Okay. Well, so that's very inspiring then, because it took some fitness and stuff of that nature in order to find out, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. And you know, when you put yourself through a challenge, sometimes it does. You go, I have to stay true to myself in order to complete this challenge. Otherwise, the challenge was kind of pointless. So then you talked about weight loss and stuff of that nature. How was it a significant amount of weight?
Yeah. So, and it's funny because so when I first started, I was 253 pounds. I got down to my goal weight of 200 during 75 Hard, I think, right at the end of it. And I really, in reality, when I started 75 Hard, I was probably around 240, where I'm back to today. But I had lost about 40 pounds during that 75 days. You know, nothing crazy, just diet and a ton of exercise. I run a lot. So I was running. I was preparing for, there's a marathon that goes on around here every year. It's called, I forget, it's like something with the ridges.
Granddad's Bluff?
No.
Not that one?
Something with the ridge. It's up by a farm out here.
Okay.
And it goes up a hill and then around and then back down and then up another one.
It's not the Trinona, is it?
No.
Because that's not a marathon.
Yeah, no.
This was a 26-mile marathon?
Yeah. Well, there's different sections. You can do, like, you can do a half, you could do a full. It's just whatever you sign up for.
Which one?
Storm the Farm.
Storm the Farm.
Storm the Farm.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
I don't think I've heard. And that's just around this area.
Yeah, that's right up on the hills up here. It's
okay.
A farm actually puts it on. So we were training for that. I signed up for it. We got done with the Grand Canyon. We did rim to rim, so it's like 8 miles straight down, 8 miles across, and then 8 miles back up.
Wow.
And when we got, and me and my buddy, we were so confident about it. We were like, oh yeah, we got this. I mean, we were working out, we were working hard. We were going up to Grand Carvin Heights and running up there, going up the trail. I'd do it like 8 times, up and down, up and down, up and down, and feeling really good. And we were cruising across the 8 mile flat and the 8 mile down. We actually had a big group with us. I was with Fitness Mentality over here in Winona. So we had a big group with us, and me and one of the owners, Christian, kind of like took off from everybody, and we're like, we just want to see how fast we can get this done. And we were like, oh man, we're feeling great. We're walking like 16-minute miles. We got our rucksacks on, which in reality is just a bunch of water. We had like a gallon of water on us, or at least I did, and then food and clothes and stuff. And we get to the peak, or where you start to go up, and we're feeling really good. And we start going up. We get about 2 miles in, and we were very humbled. Humbled is a good word, because it was like, it's just up, and it just doesn't stop, and you just keep going and going. But when we got done with that, I was like, I can do anything. So I was like, I want to do my first marathon. So then I signed up for Storm the Farm. Another very humbling experience. When I got back from the Grand Canyon, though, I developed a tension headache, and it lasted for a month. It was my last month of 75 hard. I went to the doctors, and they were like, there's nothing really we can do for you. They gave me some muscle relaxers, like, don't do anything, don't run. And I was like, well, I'm doing 75 hard, so I'm gonna still walk. So I go on walks twice a day, but I wasn't allowed to do anything. I did that all the way up until Tough Mudder. And that's when it was my test of like, is this going to go away, or what's happening here? I think it was because I had the backpack on, and just the stress of doing. We did it in about 10 hours, the Grand Canyon.
Okay, wow, that's a lot.
Just straight walking and going. Stopped like the Colorado River and went into there. But other than that, we were just kind of cruising along. But then I went into Tough Mudder, did that. It's like a 15K. Every like mile or two, there's an obstacle you go through. It's a really cool, really fun experience.
Yeah, I've done one, or a Warrior Dash.
Okay.
Same thing, but yeah, it's something else.
Yeah, I would suggest that to anybody who wants to challenge themselves. I mean, it's so that the camaraderie, the brotherhood, everybody's helping each other. I mean, these random strangers are climbing on your back, and you're climbing on random strangers' backs. Even with our big group of people, there was like obstacles we get to where we had to like get other people up and other people down, and they'd have to help us. I mean, it's just a really cool experience. But I did that, and 2 weeks later was the Storm the Farm. I had signed up for the marathon, and I got done with the half, and I had to tap out. I wasn't running that whole like month beforehand, so I just wasn't
right. You really got to train for it.
You really, yeah. And it was funny because I had went with my buddy, one of the doctors at Foundations Chiropractic, Dr. Kyle. Me and him went, and he is an animal. This man was just, he was fine. But I'm going, and we were going, and he's like, man, this is an experience. Like, this is way worse than I thought it was going to be, or just way more challenging. The hills are just like straight up. It was raining that morning, so it was muddy. So you're like trying to go down, and you're like falling. And
jeez. Well, I have run a marathon before, so I know what that's like. I ran one in Des Moines in 2011, the fall.
Okay.
So it was something else, but I didn't do the best training for it, but I did complete it in less than 5 hours with, I would say, a half-ass type training is what I did. Because my longest run on the weekend was like 13 miles one time, and that was all I ever got to.
Okay.
So I was doing really good when I got to the half marathon mile. I'm like, 2 hours. I think it was almost 2 hours flat. I'm like, I'm going to get this done in like 4 hours. Well, about mile 18, that's when that wall they always talk about hit.
Yep.
Holy God, I felt everything hurting, especially my plantar fascia. I just was like, just shot. So I hobbled my ass for probably about, I would say maybe the next 5-ish miles. And then I jogged. When I saw the timer at the end, I could see that I think it was like 4 hours and 53 minutes. I could see it. I'm like, I got to make it under 5. I have to. So I just did it as best I could. And 4 hours and 59 minutes, I believe I made it in. So I was pretty pumped.
That is
good. I looked it up a couple of years ago just seeing I was under 5 hours. But so that brings us to where you're at now, which is now you have the Average Dad cooking channel. Now, where did this all come from? Do you have a background in cooking, or you just have a love for cooking?
A little bit of both, but my background is very minute. I worked at Jefferson's Pub and Grill for 2 years before they had like shut down.
Okay.
This was I've been with RTP almost 9 years. So it was about 9 years ago. I worked there for 2 years. I cooked for almost all of it. I kind of went into like the serving side of things, but that's when I really developed my love for cooking and like cooking for other people and being able to like I took pride in my cooking. So I'm like, I want to make something good. I want to make it taste good. Like I'm giving it out to these people. I loved it when the servers would come back and be like, hey, they loved it. They said, like good job or like compliments to the chef or whatever,
Compliments to the chef. Absolutely.
It was just a pub and grill. So it wasn't like too fancy or anything, but that's kind of where the love for cooking had developed. And then I would start cooking for myself. I started to realize that my food that I would cook at home was better than what I was getting kind of at certain restaurants or where I would go and I'm like, I'd kind of leave disappointed and it was like $25 and I could go get all of that and make it a little bit better, or at least for me, what I like, where my taste buds are, especially when it comes to seasoning. You can't just go crazy on seasonings at restaurants because not everybody's going to like certain things, right?
Sure.
So when I started to discover that I liked it, and then I started cooking for other people, and they're like, yeah, you're really good at this. Like, you should cook this now. You should cook this. And then the idea started in my head probably like 3, 4, 5 years ago. I had my oldest is going to turn 7 in April. And I started talking to some friends, and I was like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, I've been wanting to do social media. I've always had this outgoing personality is kind of like what I have no problem like being in front of stuff and talking to people. I always did really well in speech classes, things like that. I always wanted to be like an actor. I always thought that would be really cool.
Oh, yes.
But, you kind of like, the more I looked into like acting and stuff, I'm like, it's kind of tough to just show up one day and be like, I want to be in a movie. Like, you got to go and do theater. You got to do these things. So I'm like, how do I do this? So I started talking to people and I'm like, what do you think about The Average Dad? And they're like, oh, I mean, that's actually really cool. It's relatable. It's, so when I went and looked up the name, there was a few Average Dads out there, but there was nothing with the Average Dad cooking channel. So I'm like, okay, let me kind of explore on that. And then it kind of sat in my head for years before, it just kept coming back to me. And I always say, like, the good idea is the ones that doesn't leave. So I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, all right, one day I had went and my aunt actually got me this like kind of cheap little tripod thing that would hook up to a table, and like it was so frustrating because like I'd put it on there and it'd fall, and I'm like, come on, like it had like a little ring light thing that I didn't even use because it was like so small, and I hit record and I started making a spaghetti. I'm like, this is I didn't know about voiceovers or anything like that, so I had cleaned like the whole house like spotless. I kicked the whole family. I'm like, you guys, everybody get out, like I'm gonna record this channel because I didn't want any like noise coming in, and just like try to do this like legitimate cooking thing. And I put it out there and it got like 100 views and that was it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that was a little disappointing. So I did a couple more and nothing was really happening, and then I stopped for a while for about 6 months. That led up to about this last January. People kept asking me about it, like, oh, like, do you do that anymore? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I kind of started on Facebook. I made one for like Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. YouTube is where like I really wanted to be. But
Sure.
All of a sudden my Facebook just, at first it was like this, like I call it posting into the abyss, because like I'd post and like nothing would happen, right? Like, and a lot of times I was posting links to my YouTube, which Facebook doesn't like.
Sure.
Like you have to be like weird about that. And well, then as I was going, I actually met a creator in Louisiana. She had posted something and she had like 10,000 followers. I had commented on there. She started following me, and then I messaged her and she just started like kind of giving me tips a little bit. And she was like, you know what, like, hold on. So like, she's like, I like what you're doing here. And she kind of like bring her friends in, or like I would start meeting more and more people. Then all of a sudden I'd post something, I'd get a little bit more traction, to the point like where I was like, okay, this is starting to become a little bit better, right? This is a little bit more of a thing. Facebook wants you to post like 10 to 12 times a day.
Whoa, really?
That's what
I'm way
wants.
behind that.
See, like, and some people tell you no, some people tell you yes. I mean, there's no like, exact plan for it all, but that's what seems to be working for me.
Okay.
Is I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to do that, what am I gonna post? Like I don't cook that much. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
and it's gonna get boring. So then I started bringing in my sobriety to it, and I'm bringing in like fitness and bringing in like my family and my kids. My kids love being on the channel. They love it.
Of course they do. Of course.
My son's kindergarten and first grade class now have like shown the videos in class of like the ones that he's in, and that they'll sit back and watch it because I make them pretty quick, you know. So
Yeah.
then he'll come back and be like, "Dad, guess what we watched today?" You know, and it started to just become a really cool thing up until, you know, today, where we're pushing 5,000 on Facebook or 1,300 on YouTube, and just broke 1,000 on TikTok and Instagram. We don't talk about because they don't like me over there for some reason.
I feel that same way, man. So you're just posting and posting and posting, basically.
Right? Yeah.
And you just started this less than about a year ago?
Yeah, I got serious about it in January.
Okay.
That's when I really started to like care about it, or like really kind of put thought into it and be
Sure.
like, let's actually make this into something.
Yeah. So how are you on YouTube? How are you getting your subscribers? Because I'm in this part where I'm like, I don't know how I get people to go over and just hit the subscribe button. It's like they won't.
Yeah, shorts are huge.
I've been doing a lot of those
Yep,
lately.
Shorts are huge. Shorts is where I got a lot of mine, but I just had a video. It took forever. I probably have 200-300 shorts out there of,
Oh, wow,
of
okay.
like of what I used to do was take my long form and like put clips of
Yep.
it out there, and then I started making full on recipes into shorts. So like
Gotcha.
the last one that I just dropped today was 51 seconds. You know, of like
Yep.
from start to finish. Here it is. You know what your opening scene is. The hook is kind of what they say the biggest thing is. So like what I used to do is like I'd start out and I'd have like this speech of like, "Welcome to the Average Dad Cooking Channel." I dropped all of that. I put the finished food into there, and I'm like, I just try to say something that's going to bring them in. Like this last one I dropped was a 3-ingredient crock pot meal. So I'm like, this is 3 ingredients, crock pot, you know, and like to try to
Sure.
keep them like interested. Another big thing, and it seems silly, but telling them to subscribe. That's huge.
Hey, everyone, subscribe to both of us, please.
Right. That is huge. I mean, you see it. If you go watch other YouTube creators, they say it. Everybody does it, right? And
Right.
you would think like, oh, they know. Well, when I started saying it, I would see this influx of people come. But now I just had one that, like, it was just last week. I had put it out there. It got 30,000 views, 300 subscribers.
Jeez, nice.
Like, yeah, it went, you know, in my term, viral. Like nothing too.
No, that's really good. The best I've ever done on a video was on TikTok, and it was like 56,000 views.
And then that's it. They say it just takes the one to kind of like get going, but it was funny when you got to kind of keep going. Once you hit that 1,000 subscriber moment, I feel
Yep.
like it starts to kind of roll. The biggest thing is though is consistency. Right?
Okay.
Consistently posting new stuff. You can reuse old stuff. I've been kind of doing that lately, just
Sure.
because like lately it's just been so busy. It's Christmas. You know, my birthday was just like a couple days ago, and we just have all these things that we plan for and go. And so I'm like, I'm not cooking. My house is just a disaster right now. We're actually in the process of like moving, so it like every boxes everywhere. So I'm like, I don't know, like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take some old videos and repost them.
Sure,
and that's
sure.
the one that just went and did really well. Was just an old video that I like had out there that I just put back onto YouTube, and it was like, okay, I guess we're gonna do really well this time.
Sure.
You know, but consistently posting. I post like for YouTube. I try to post Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. That's kind of been my thing.
Monday through Friday at 4 p.m.
Yep, that's been my thing.
All right.
That's,
I'm gonna
that's
take some tips here.
That's what
All
works
right.
for me. You know, I've talked to other creators. I know you had Jeremy Little on here. I've talked to him a few times.
Yep.
Asked him like, you know, what's the recipe? Like, how did you do it? And he was one of the people that like helped put me to post so much, because he's like, just do what you're doing. He goes, back when I first started, I was posting 13 times a day. You know, I spread them out. I post from I try to do it from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, like
Okay.
every once an hour, and like just post something, right? You don't want to like make it where you're just doing whatever, but at the same time, like that's just what I do. Like I'll post like a humor post, I'll post like a sobriety thing, or I'll post my kids, or I'll post what I'm going to be cooking, an old recipe, a new recipe, what's coming up, what's happening on the channel. You know, engagement posts. So like something silly like, do you wash your chicken? That one does really well, because people, you know, like people are very, very serious about whether they wash their chicken or not. You know what I mean? Like that's a big
debacle out there.
Oh my gosh, that is a huge debate. You know?
Whether you wash your chicken or not.
Some people won't come to your house if you don't wash your chicken. Other people are telling you that if you wash it, you have better chance of spreading salmonella over because you're kind of like you're taking them juices and putting them into more spots. And if you cook it to 165 degrees, you're killing the bacteria in there.
Right.
That's the whole point of cooking it. But some people will tell you, well, if you don't wash your chicken, don't invite me to your house. So
oh no! So you don't wash your chicken?
I don't wash my chicken.
Yeah, I was gonna say the heat's gonna kill it, right?
Right. I ain't got time for that. Like, I'm a dad. I got 3 kids. We ain't giving the chicken a hot tub bath beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But that is huge. If you want like a controversial people, I don't want to do that too much, but posting something controversial that always gets blown up.
Yeah.
You know, with engagement, it doesn't matter if it's bad engagement or good engagement. Engagement's engagement. So
yes,
you see people out there that do, you know, dumb things that I don't like particularly agree with, that I won't do. Like, I mean, not even just in the cooking world, but like the pranksters, you know, the things that make people mad, or like they'll just come out and like political stances, things like that. I kind of stay away from that. But I mean, gumbo, you know, you make a gumbo and people are, I mean, I have one on TikTok right now. It's a seafood gumbo. And oh my God, people are losing their minds. Like, some people are telling me like, this is the worst thing I've ever saw. Some people are telling me like, never cook again. And then some people are telling me this looks great. Good job. Like, you know, especially gumbo. It's a very big Louisiana thing.
Oh gosh. And you're in Minnesota cooking it. So they're probably pissed.
Oh yeah. That's a northerner did this, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, I don't really like to be too controversial, but at the same time, like, I kind of have a plan to like make like, so if you put tomatoes in a gumbo, people are going to lose their mind. Some people do it, some people don't. I might just do it just to be like, let's get this video to go crazy. You know what I mean?
Is there ever one where you remember something very negative back to you, and then how did you handle that? I mean, I'm sure you've gotten multiple, because everyone's got an opinion. It's just like they say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Yeah. So my question is, have you ever had to deal with someone that was really negative?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming more and more.
Is it really?
Yeah, like the more I get, the bigger I get, the more it comes.
Oh, sure,
right?
sure,
especially
sure.
on YouTube. Like, they tell you not to go to the comment section, but at the same time, as a smaller creator, you want to be in the comment section because you want the engagement. You want people to go back and forth. Like, you want to respond to those things, whether they're positive or negative. But I pretty much always respond with positivity. So that one I was just telling you about that went for 30,000 views. They say around 20K is when like the trolls start to come in. Is just a general rule of thumb. It could happen right away. But one guy comes on there and he goes, you know, respectfully, never cook again. And it was just like a crock pot meal. And I was like, I'm like, well, haters are going to hate, right? And then like,
I saw that one.
Yeah.
I saw that comment.
And then another guy is like, it's not hating. Like you really should never cook again. And I'm like, well, I'm a dad. You know, I responded with, I'm a dad. I don't have that option. I have a lot of other recipes on my channel. Maybe something will vibe with you there. If not, thanks for stopping by. You know, on the seafood gumbo one on TikTok, I've gotten to the point where I'm just like just kind of like blowing them off. They're like, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever saw. And I'm like, okay, you know, just like something, like just to respond back, to try to kind of get it to go back out there more. Yeah. But I usually just try to respond with positivity. Like, I don't try to feed them too much or like call them, tell them they're this or they're that, because it's just not who I am. But yeah, I mean, it's just happening more and more.
Well, you know, the one thing I've noticed about people that comment on YouTube is usually if they'll comment something, just being a dick or whatever it might be, and you go and look on their thing and it has no photo, they have no videos, They have no subscribers. It's just a lot of trolls out there. They get behind their keyboard and they just want to bash on people. So I've gotten a couple last week. I posted something about the housing market and stuff like that, and people are like, yeah, but it costs this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, okay, you really missed the whole point of buying a house or real estate in general is just an investment. And they're like, yeah, but you got to do this. I'm like, yeah, I know, I got that, but if you buy a car, you have to do all that too, and it keeps going down in value. So I'm like, holy cow. But you know what? I click on those people and I'm like, well, I don't even know who you are. So that one doesn't really ever bother me when I go on YouTube, because it's usually nobody I know. I can't see who they are. Ones that would maybe bother me the most is if it was like someone I knew pretty close on Facebook bashing me. Yeah. I would probably be like, oh, that pisses me off. But for YouTube, I don't even know. Same with TikTok. TikTok is another one. It could be anybody. You never know who
TikTok
it is.
is just something else, man. They definitely come out there. That's the big thing. If you're gonna put yourself online, you have to have thick skin. Like they're gonna come. The bigger you get, the more they will come. Eventually, you get to a point though where you're big enough where you just don't even have to go into the comment section anymore.
Sure.
I mean, you know, you see a lot of creators like a lot of them. They'll come in and they'll maybe comment on a couple. They might say something to the guy trolling, but in reality, they're not looking at the big ones. I mean, they get so many. Like you can only imagine what happens when you post something and you got 1,000 comments within 10 minutes. Like you're like, all right, you know, I'm done. Whereas like me, like when I post something, people comment. Like I'm pretty much on top of it. I'm like I go and I respond immediately to try to like build that and like build the community. But yeah, I mean, having thick skin, I would say for the most part, people that I know are pretty supportive. I mean, especially now that we're kind of getting bigger, more people are seeing it. They're like, wow, like you're really doing this. They're supportive for the most part. I haven't had too many people or anybody really that I know say anything. So like you said, it's always someone. One of my favorite ones is to come back and be like, well, you know, you show me. You know, if this is wrong, link me to yours. And that usually gets them to be quiet. One guy actually posted a picture of his, and then I was just like, he's like, so I made my gumbo. I made it really thick. And that's just how I like it. And then you can make it soupy, you can make it thick. I mean, there's a million ways to make it. And he posted his all soupy, and I'm like, well, at least I'm not making a soup, right? You know, just like trolling back a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Like, I like to keep mine very, you know, family friendly. It's called the Average Dad Cooking Channel. Yep. I like that my son's first grade class can show videos and not have to worry about a thing. You
Absolutely,
know what I mean?
Yeah. So then you keep bringing back into it your family, and so I assume that has a big part to do with your channel as well as your family. Is it like therapy for you when you're doing the cooking? Because I hate cooking. I'll tell you this right now. I absolutely hate it. I don't like doing something that takes me longer to make than it would to eat.
Yeah.
Now my wife is a fantastic cook. She cooked in the military. And she makes hibachi so damn good. I don't know. I just love eating it. I'm like, I'll buy all the stuff. Just don't worry about that. As long as you make it, she'll make it on the Blackstone. And then she just made it on the stove the other day, or on the kitchen stove because it was freezing out. She goes, I don't know if it's going to taste as good. I don't care. It tasted fantastic. I thought it was awesome. So she's really good at cooking because she did it. But I'm the kind of person that's like, I want convenience, but convenience isn't healthy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So for you, is it therapy for you?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. I like to see people's reactions, like when you have a good meal and you give it to them and they're like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
I like things that taste good. That has been my biggest thing is like, I love food and I love for it to taste good. So when I can make it myself, especially like when I am losing weight, you know, I cannot stand dry, boring like diets. When I'm on a diet, when I lose a lot of my weight, my meals change all the time. I could never be somebody who's like, I'm gonna meal prep and have chicken and rice for the next 5 days. Like I have a different meal at pretty much every day, all the time, and being able to cook that and cook the ways that I like and still make it healthy and make it taste good, or just that's been really cool. And then I mean, I don't have a problem spending 10 hours making something, you know, like, and a lot of times with that is like, it just sits on the stove and you just go and stir it after you get it going. But like, I love it. I mean, I'm cooking all the time. To bring out the smoker, and I mean, I just did it. It was like -10 outside. I made burgers on the smoker, you know, like I love that. I love, my kids are very picky, but when they do like it, wow, Dad, this is really good. My son will go to school and like he'll fill out those things that are like, what do you like about your dad, or like, what do you like to do with your dad? And he'll be like, I like to cook with him, or I love when he makes me barbecue chicken, or like stuff like that. So that's always been really cool to me. And then just knowing how to cook has always been, it's just been huge to me. You know, you watch these people grow up, and again, there's no judgment on anybody, but a lot of people eat out a lot, right? And like, it's just because like that tastes good to them, and like it's easier. It's you know, but it's so bad for you. And even if it's not, and you're getting healthy stuff, it's expensive as can be. Yeah. I love to be able to be like, you know, what do you want to eat? And they're like, I want to try, you know, I want lasagna. I want just whatever, and I can make. Okay, I got this. Like, I'll go make that. Yep. You know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I have it all in my head. I'm not some master chef, but like, I'll go online, look up a recipe, and just go cook that thing, right? And then like have it turn out good. Is just, it's the reaction, and then what I like to enjoy myself has always been really nice to me. And then it's a little bit of therapy to like, it's like, this is my area. This is where I am. You know, I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking. Nothing else really matters right now. Nobody's bugging me. Like, you know, like, I can't burn this. Go ask your mom. You know. Yeah. Like, so.
Does your wife like to cook with you, or
no?
All right. So she's like me. And you're like my wife.
I was just about to say that's
Perfect.
it's like the exact opposite. Where
Yeah.
I mean, and she can cook. She does cook some pretty decent meals, but for the most part, I'm the cook. She definitely keeps it simplistic when she cooks, which is completely fine. But yeah, I'm definitely the one that's like, oh, we're going to have this tonight, or I'm going to take a dry brine on the steak for the next 24 hours. I'm going to put this in a wet brine. I'm going to make this. And she's like, I'm going to make, spaghetti tonight.
Sure. And my go-to, if I had to, would be I'd make baked chicken, pretty plain. I'd just give you some sauce on the side, and then I would probably microwave some asparagus.
Yeah.
And that's probably about where it kind of stops. Now, can I do it? Yes. Do I like to? No, I don't like to.
Right.
So one of my other favorites is like steaks on the Traeger. That's always pretty good.
Yes.
And then my wife sautés mushrooms and red wine.
Yes.
Woo, you put it right on top, and that is fantastic.
Yeah, that's been my steak game has really been getting up there. We just went out last night for like a little like after birthday dinner type thing, and I ordered a steak, and it was good. But like I'm like, man, my steak is just so much better because like I've learned like the dry brine and like a salt dry brine, and like taking and putting salt on it, put it in the fridge uncovered for 24 hours, taking it out, and then I'll smoke it until like 120 degrees, and then I'll take the Blackstone and I'll sear it on there, and then I'll let it rest and do all this crazy stuff, and like I'll do like a butter rest, and I'm like, it's hard to beat a steak when you do stuff like that. And they don't have time to do that in a restaurant.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? Like, so for like now that I can cook like that, it's just such a game changer.
So you cook with your kids, right? Sometimes they cook with you.
Yep.
Do they like to do that then? Because you said your wife doesn't, but do your kids like to?
They love to be involved in it. They don't always, but like when they do, like, so we did one that, it was a mashed potato, like volcano dinosaur nugget thing. And
Dino nuggies.
Right. And so like a lot of people will go out and they'll just like buy a frozen bag of dino nugs. Well, we didn't do that. We got some ground chicken. I got some cookie cutters of dinosaurs.
Oh, you made them yourself.
And then we put them in there and we like breaded them ourselves. We put them in the oven, and then we took the mashed potatoes. We took some like real potatoes, cut them up. And my son was my daughter was in there too, and she was really having fun until she went and like fell asleep on the couch. But she just had a long day. But my son was just all about it. And then, we took the mashed potatoes and we made this little mountain as much as we could. I think people use, this was my first time trying to do it. I think people use like fake potatoes because they kind of stack better. Maybe they just don't cook them as much or something because these things are just like falling apart on me. But, they had fun. We put them in there, and then we took broccoli and we made little trees. And then we took our dino nugs and put them in there. And we took some gravy and we just like poured on top like this lava's coming down. And he had an absolute blast doing that. We made some meatball subs one time. He had so much fun doing it. He's always like, when I get him involved, which isn't all the time. He's got homework. He's got this to do. I do a lot more voiceovers these days, so it's like a lot of quick cooking. Like I just kind of take clips, and then I don't have to clear out the house. Like you don't have the baby screaming in the background. That's fine. I can just mute this audio, and then I can put a voiceover over it later. I do a lot of that lately, so they're not as involved. But when they do come, they absolutely love it. It's so much fun for them.
Sure. Now, I'm the kind of person that likes convenience. What would be a quick something you can make that doesn't take forever to make that's still somewhat healthy? Is there like a go-to that you would have for that kind of meal?
Yeah. A lot of times when I'm doing that, I'll just make like chicken rice veggies, right? And like I'll just use like a teriyaki sauce.
Yes.
I've been doing a lot of like taste flavor, like Joey Swall's little taste flavor company that he's got going on.
I've never heard of that before.
Yep. So you know Joey Swall is?
The workout guy?
Yeah,
I know him.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a company.
He's got a company, Taste Flavor. They're like 15-calorie sauces, and they're like really good. So I've been using a lot of that. But one of my favorite go-tos is I make a pizza, and I'll use like the ultra thin whole wheat crust pizzas, so like not a ton of calories into there, and then I'll just like use like chicken breasts and mushrooms and like load it up with veggies because there's just not a ton of calories in that. But the chicken breast gives you a lot of like high protein. I'll go with like a low fat mozzarella cheese or something to kind of throw on there. You got to be careful when it comes to cheese, obviously. Yep. For the sauce, like I usually just use a marinara, but there's definitely different things that you could use that like, I'm always looking, especially like when I'm really going into it, I'm like, all right, this has got 20 less calories. Like, let's go with this. And I'll measure everything out. But that to me is just so amazing. And then I'll use like the seasoning is kind of where it comes out. Like I use a lot of bacon salt. So that's a local guy here. Okay. He owns
I've heard of that company. Who is it?
Austin Rapinski.
Austin Rapinski?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's how you say his last
All right.
name.
Bacon Salt. I've seen them. They've liked some of my stuff before.
Yeah, so he's local. He's local here. He owns that. So I've been involved with him. So I'll use a lot of his stuff. You know, 0 calorie, and it tastes really good. It's really it's got a good flavor to it. I use like a lot of the applewood, the maple, and then I've been taking a lot of Louisiana seasonings and bringing them into my cooking, which are just, I mean, they know how to cook in Louisiana. I could say, you know, that's
Cajun style. Ooh,
I love the
good.
Cajun. I love spicy, so that's a lot of my go-tos. And then another thing I do a lot when I'm like losing weight, you know, turkey burger, and I turn it into tacos, right? Like something quick, easy. I'll just make like a quick, like low calorie shell, or even not a shell, but I like to have shells. Like I usually just put that into my diet plan. Like, okay, well, I'm going to have this, but I'll just have 1 instead of 2, or just whatever, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to eat just a little bit less, you know?
Right.
You eat with your eyes at first, and all your stomach's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of been like lately, like I kind of said in the beginning, but touched on it in the beginning a little bit, but I'd lost all that weight, and now I gained it all back, a lot of it back. I'm back up to like 240 again, and I'm like, God, like how does this keep happening? It's just because like I just kind of fell off. It was right after my half marathon of Storm the Farm. I was like, I don't know. I was like beaten and battered, and I'm like, I'm just gonna eat now. Like I just did 75 hard. Like I've been eating clean for months. Like I'm just gonna eat, and then this is who I am. This is why I stopped drinking. When I start doing something like that, I just keep doing it, and then I gained a lot of it back. So now we're gonna go back here very soon into like losing it again.
Sure.
And that's where the cooking, being able to cook kind of really comes in handy. Like I said, I don't get as bored. I tell people all the time, if you start tracking your stuff, you kind of get to a point where you'll know, you don't have to track it forever, but I tell everybody, if you want to lose weight, you should track at least for like a month or something, so you can find out like why you're not losing weight. Like, well, I had 4 eggs. Isn't that good for you? Well, yeah, but there's a ton of fat in there, and fat's got 9 calories where protein's got 4. So like you want to take the egg whites, not the yolks. And like you kind of get that idea of like what you can and can't eat. And like you can have these bigger meals while still remaining in what, like a 1800 calorie like wherever, you know, like goal. You can have these huge meals when they're protein packed and not so much fats and things like that. But I mean, again, I love food. So like, I run a cooking channel. So like, sometimes it's just tough. And like, I just like to cook like big things. I've been doing a lot of crock pot easy meals lately. That seems to be doing well. And they tell you when you find something that works, do it, right? Sure. And so like that crock pot meal, it just did really well. When I started doing, because I kind of just do whatever, and people say you got to kind of niche down, and I'm like, well, isn't cooking a niche enough? But it's really not. Like you kind of have to be known for something. Are you a meat guy? Are you a vegetarian? Are you low carb? Are you whatever? And I've been just all over the place. I'm like, I'm gonna make a steak. Now I'm gonna make ribs. Now I'm gonna make some crazy Louisiana dish. And like, I like it. It's fun for me. It's working. But now that I've kind of like gotten into the more easy, like this is 4 ingredients. This is 5 ingredients. This is quick, easy, healthy. This is a crock pot meal. Those have been doing a lot better.
Sure.
So.
Well, now you talk about the channel because that's kind of what we're here talking about. Is there a certain community that you find yourself building here within this channel? Is there a certain type of person that seems to hit you up on your channel more often than maybe not some other?
Yeah. I see a lot more females in over pretty much everything. And usually it's kind of like either our generation, like, I'm like 30, I just turned 35, or older, right? That's kind of like where I've seen it. Okay. And I mean, it makes sense. The average dad, right? Like that. And I have, fans of like all, or followers of all, all over the place. But a lot of them that I see, for the majority, are like older females, or around my age, type thing. Yeah, it's kind of been built into that, which is cool to me. Dads have been another one. They'll message out a lot, like, oh, I love what you're doing, or like I said, I had one hit me up the other day that was like, man, I never thought I could do it, but I'm a month sober. Like from reading your posts and like seeing how you did it. He's like, I never thought I'd be here, but now I just hit my 30 days. And I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. Like I love when people do that. But yeah, definitely like the older generation has been the biggest one that I've seen. Okay.
Now, I see your logo, and if you're watching, you'll see the logo, and you actually have some stuff you brought along with your logo on it. Did you come up with the logo yourself, or did someone help you create that?
Yeah, I went on Fiverr. It was
On what was it?
Fiverr.
Fiverr. Okay.
Yep.
Is it the Fiverr?
Yep.
Okay. I think I've seen ads for that.
Yeah, and I went and found some. I just went on there and I found a graphic designer person. They did it for $30. I told them what I wanted. It was like I sent them my picture and I'm like, this is kind of make it a little geared towards me. Like give him a goatee and like a chef hat. And he came back with this on the first try, and I said, cool, I love it. And then I just ran with it, and
Sure.
it's been fun ever since. Yeah, I love the logo. It worked out really well, and yeah, it was just something simple. I paid $30. I wanted something to be out there, and yeah, he made that for me, and we've been there ever since.
Now, you told me you're coming up with a series that's called Average Dad Eats America. Now, what is this all about?
Yeah.
What does a series mean? Like, are you going to have a TV show, or is it part of your Facebook group?
It's part of my just like, so when we say series, like some people will do like a soup series. So like the next couple months they'll post a bunch of soups.
Okay.
This idea came to me essentially from the Louisiana people. I just got so involved with them. Some of my best videos were like gumbo, and they're all gonna make fun of me if they actually watch this, but I call it boudin because it's spelled Boudin, but they pronounce it like boudin. And I can't do it, and they always make fun of me, so I just call it boudin. That really riles people up. If you want to get people mad, go make a boudin and call it that. And oh my goodness! Like,
all right, well, we'll put this clip on TikTok. What is it now? How is it spelled? First of all, again?
Boudin. So like I'm like, oh, it's boudin. That makes sense to me.
That makes sense, yeah.
Right. Well, they'll make fun of you and then they'll tell you it's boudin, but you don't use the N. You're supposed to like half pronounce the N, right? So like they say N without touching the roof of your mouth with your tongue. So boudin. Right?
Boudin.
Yeah. And like this gets people so riled up. A lot of my friends down there, they laugh and they'll just be like, oh, like, at least you're trying, blah, blah, blah. It's a really, really cool meal, but so I kind of gained a lot of like popularity in southern regions before I even gained like even locally. Like I had a lot more southern people before I had like the local people. And so my buddy at work actually looked at me. He's like, maybe you could like expand off of that and like go to like different states. And I'm like, oh, this is a really good idea. I'm like, well, I can't travel to these states, so like, what can I do? And now I've been trying to do it, and I'm stuck. I'm on Tennessee right now. So the first one I did was Texas. What I did was I made a video, and I said, I want you guys to like comment on here and tell me what state I should start with. And I did a top 4 comments of all the different states that were done, and then I made a poll and I put it all on all the platforms, and I said like, which one should we choose? And Texas is what won. So the first thing I did was a brisket, but I told them like I didn't want to just do a brisket, but it's a lot of content, because then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make a post about like, what do you want me to cook about Texas? And a lot of people were like, brisket. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna just do a brisket. Like, what should we do with this brisket? And then that's when Texas Twinkies became a thing, right? So like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll make Texas Twinkies from the brisket.
Never heard of that.
Which was really cool. I got with Backwater Barbecue. And Lance is the owner of that. He brought me into his shop, like back into the kitchen, and was like, this is how we do this, and showed me how he makes his brisket, and shows me how he makes his Texas Twinkies. And Texas Twinkies are really, they're awesome. You take a jalapeno, you cut it in half, or core it out, you cut it in half, and you stuff it with brisket on one side, and then like this cream cheese mixture on the other. And then you wrap it in bacon, and then you can either like put it in the air fryer, I put it on the smoker till the bacon gets crisped up. Hit a little bit of barbecue sauce, put it back in for like 10 minutes, let that barbecue sauce like caramelize, bring it out, and then you just eat it, and it is so freaking good.
That sounds very interesting.
It's so good.
That sounds filling as all can be.
So then the next one I came up with was Tennessee, and I'm like, okay, well, obviously, like I don't get a ton of traction with it, so like I'm like, where should we go? And then like Tennessee got picked, and I'm like, what should I make? And like nobody's commenting. I'm like, okay, well, I guess Nashville hot chicken it is. So
that sounds good.
So I looked into that, and they're like, okay, well, get a whole chicken, like do this and then do this, and I'm like, man, this is not like that. It's overwhelming. I'm just like, it's just kind of a lot of work. So I've put it on the back burners for now. I'm hoping now this next year I'll be able to get more into it, and like the plan is to go to all the states, and virtually,
okay.
right? And I tell them what I want to do is get the audience involved and be like, what about your state is what food reminds you of your state? Like
Sure.
Texas was easy, brisket. They're like brisket, obviously brisket. Like Kansas City will probably be some sort of barbecue. Ohio, a lot of people have said Skyline chili. It's like a chocolate chili type deal. It's a restaurant and they have it like in cans. But I'm like, well, I'm not gonna buy it because they're like, you should just buy the can. I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of like cooking. You know, I'm like, I want to represent your state from Minnesota.
So you're trying to make it all from scratch?
All from scratch,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
So like I make the brisket. I got a smoker and did all the stuff and did it myself. A lot of people ask me like, what are you gonna do for Minnesota? And I'm like, I have no idea. Tater tot, hot dish, right?
Yeah.
That's
what it
That's
is.
the only thing I can think of. Like I'm interested to see like what Iowa comes up with, or
Well,
Nebraska.
I think one in Minnesota would also possibly be like a fish fry type thing, walleyes and stuff like that. That would to me be better. I'm not a big hot dish fan.
Yeah.
But you make some walleye or some sort of seafood. I love that kind
that's
of
a
stuff.
good idea. Go out and like catch the walleye. Like I
You
got a
can
good
catch it,
walleye
too.
spot, you know. So
all right. So you can do that even
Oh,
better.
yeah.
So you got to show yourself fishing too.
Right. Like
Filleting it.
that'd be a cool little intro. See, gave me a good idea when we get to Minnesota.
All right, sounds good. I hate fishing, but I love eating the fish.
Yes.
So you're gonna do this, and like, how is it just gonna keep continuing through the years? Is that the idea, or is there like a episode limit, and then you stop for a little bit, and then you do more?
Yeah, I try to post every single week. I don't have any goal in mind. The biggest goal to me is to get on TV. I want to be like, I don't know if it's a cooking show or just like whatever. If I can go cook with Gordon Ramsay, that'd be really cool. I applied for Next Level Chef, which is like
I've heard of that actually.
thing.
Is that where he swears at you?
Yeah, I mean,
gets
he
pissed
swears
off.
at you all the time. But so it's more of like a cooking competition. You get in with a group of people, and there's levels. There's always like there's a top floor, a middle floor, and then like a basement. And like the basement has like not as great ingredients, and the top floor has got like all this cool cooking stuff and all this. And you start on this level, and then you make a dish. You have to like run up to this platform and like grab a protein. You come back and you make this random dish, and you're timed on it. And then you give it to the judges, and like the least favorite one of them all gets like eliminated, right? So I applied for that, and I actually got a casting call from it. So I thought that was really cool. It helps though. One of the guys that I've met now through all of the social media stuff, he's working with them. He was on Next Level Chef, and now he's working with them, casting like people. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna get you an audition call. So that helped a lot. But like, but they called me, and I thought that was really cool to talk to them and like kind of get that experience of like what do they ask you? Like what are you gonna have to prepare for? Right now though, like the biggest problem / like, you know, like scare of it all is like, okay, let's say I do get accepted for one of these, like I don't have, it's not like I can like lean on my social media income, right? So like I go win, sweet, or I don't, and now I've just wasted 2 weeks and I don't have a job anymore. Like, you know, what
Sure. So you don't think your job was to say, hey, like this is a pretty big opportunity. That's pretty cool.
I honestly have no idea. They might.
Yeah.
They honestly might. They might be like, yeah, you know what, that sounds good. Like you know, it's privately owned. I know all the owners. Like they're all really good people.
Yeah. I feel like, man, if you had an opportunity like that and it was one of my employees, try to figure out something.
Right.
I don't know how, but yeah. So you got a call back.
Yeah, I got a call.
So
that was really cool. I didn't get picked, but
Oh, so they have actually done the picking process already?
Yep.
Okay. So when you get a phone call like that, I mean, who is actually calling you? Is it the network, or is it someone specific? Like
It's people casting for the network.
Gotcha. Okay.
This was, I can't remember her name, but it was a girl that works through the network. It's like in their casting department type deal, and they call you, and then if you get it from there, she said the next step would be a Zoom interview with people, you know, and then I'm not sure who the Zoom. I didn't get to that part, but that would be the next step. And then if you're chosen, you know, then you fly out there. They said you had to have like a month or 2 months like free of being like, you know, like, do you have 2 months free? And I was like, sure, like, why not? I mean, the odds of winning aren't that great, but like just being on there would kind of be like, hey, who was that? Oh, and like they talk about you. Like I saw one that had like content creators, so they brought up their channels, like they brought up all that, like, you know, right in the beginning. So it's not like you're not going to get exposure just from that. Yep. It would be a leap, right? It would just be a leap. It'd be a leap I'd be willing to take, because that is the goal. Like I said, that's the goal. I want to be on TV. Like I want to bring this thing to the tip top. Like I want to be famous.
I know what you mean, man. We're like right in the same path, except I don't cook.
Yeah.
But I want to do something where I'm out there somehow.
Well,
but
social media, like in general, has a ton of. I mean, there are all these ways. Like they tell you all the time, like if you want to be out there, put yourself out there. Somebody's gonna vibe with it. There's
Yep.
there's I don't know what the population is, but it's a lot. And like, there's going to be people out there that think what you think is funny, or what you think is interesting, they're going to think it's interesting.
Yeah.
You just got to put yourself out there and do it. Once you get enough traction, I mean, there's the possibilities are endless. I mean, with what you're doing right now, you got Joe Rogan, like, it's huge, right? Like, it's just a podcast. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I wish I could be that level. Well, maybe we'll get there. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my guests was on his show recently.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Dave Landau. He's a stand-up comedian. He was on mine last October, not this one, but the one before that. And then, like, maybe 2 months ago, he was on Joe Rogan's, and he was telling one of the same stories I asked him the question of. So I put it out there on, like, YouTube or TikTok, just showing the same story that was being told on both my podcast and his. So that's my claim to fame at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm like, hey, look at that. But exactly, right? Like, it's out there, and you just gotta take the risk, put yourself out there, and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to go into your business, because you talked about just recently, you said, my social media doesn't bring me enough money at the moment, but you say, I want to get on TV, I want to be famous, I want to make this my job, it sounds like, which obviously this is your passion. So they always say, go after your passion, and eventually, hopefully, you can make some money at it, but you never know. So there's no like guarantee that's going to happen. So what are you working on going forward here now? Since we already know what the channel is all about, how do you want to move forward with all of this?
Yeah. So what I do, and what I tell people all the time too, is I constantly put myself out there. I am always looking for the next possible opportunity. If you looked at like my Instagram messages or my emails or anything like that, like I am always like emailing people, like messaging other content creators, casting agents. I mean, you name it. I'm like, this is who I am. Like, this is what I've done. One of the things I did this last summer is I was actually on the local news, WXOW Channel News 19 in La Crosse. Okay. One of the reporters had reached out to me. It was funny how it worked out. I had taken a picture of some like flooding over by RTP on the train tracks, and they were like, they just kind of reached out and they're like, hey, you took a picture of that. I was just curious, like what the storm is like. And I was like, oh, actually, it was like this minuscule storm. I was like, it was like 5 minutes, blah blah blah. But at the end of the conversation, I'm like, hey, if you're ever looking for a story, this is who I am. This is what I do. And she was like, it's funny you say that. I was actually going to ask you that. And so like, I'm always putting myself. After I got that interview, I went and emailed every single news agency, local news, radio stations, newspapers. There's a saying by Stephen King, he's my favorite author, but he's got a saying that, when he first started putting himself out there, he'd send off his copy to all these different publishers, and he'd keep getting these like rejected letters. And what he'd do was he'd take a nail and he would nail it to the wall of each one, and he'd just keep nailing it to it. And when he ran out of room, he just got a bigger nail. You keep putting yourself out there. Get a bigger nail. And like, I have been left on red a million times, but there's been a couple people that have responded. I have a Z Grills. I have Dalstrong. They're like a knife business. Z Grills is like a pellet smoker business. They both have responded and have sent me merchandise or things like that that I've been able to like showcase and kind of put out there for them.
So you're trying to do brand partnerships too?
Yeah, brand partnerships is like kind of how it starts, in my opinion. I mean, just at least for me, is how it would start, and we kind of put yourself out there until you get to a point where they're like, once your videos are doing well enough, there could be some real like possible income there, and like that could kind of help you support. Like, I am monetized on Facebook, but like I make like $50 a month, right? Like, there's no way I could live off $50 a month, right? But I mean, to me, it's not even about the money right now. Like, it's more about just getting my name out there. Like, I don't care what I have to do, how I have to do it. If if some place was like, hey, come out to California and do this, I'd make it happen, which actually makes, there was an event in Madisonville, Texas. It was a 16-hour drive. I drove there with, I brought food, and I drove there. It was a content meet and greet. So you go in, and they had all these different content creators around. Some of them have millions of followers. Some of them don't. Like me, I was there. I think I had like 3,000 at the time. This was just back in like October. And you make some food, and people come in. They pay $10 at the door, and then they go around and they can sample all the different food from all the different creators. And all these people showed up to see these big creators, but they're also coming to me because I'm there. So I'm wearing my hat, my shirt. I got my cutting board. I had a sign that like said who I was, and then it once you scan it, it brought you to my link tree. My link tree has got all of my stuff on it. So I'm like, anything I got to do to make this happen, I'll do. Like, there's no drive too far, no like anything that's too like small or too big for me. If it's an opportunity, I'm taking it.
Sure. And now do you have a seasoning line that I just saw?
I'm trying.
You're trying.
I'm trying to make my own. That is difficult. Like, I got to give some of these people props, like that have like these really great seasonings. Now, I am trying to do low salt, no MSG, and no sugar.
Okay.
And I see a lot of seasonings that I love, and so I have nothing against those ingredients, nothing at all. But that's just, I wanted to go a different way.
Sure.
And every time I look at these seasonings that I love, they have salt, sugar, and MSG. And like, if you look at a ingredient list on the back of a label, I don't know if people know this or not, but when you read the ingredients, the number one ingredient is the heaviest ingredient in that.
Yep.
In that. So when you read it and it says salt, and then salt is the number one ingredient, right? And like all the ones I love have salt as the number one ingredient. They have the MSG or they have sugar. And I'm like, this is hard. And so like I keep trying to make one, but I'm also not going to just like put something out there. Like I want it to be really, really good. So I think I've gotten like 10 or 15 different versions of like, let's try this. And then I keep throwing it on a bunch of different food and just trying it. And stuff's okay, but I'm like, it's got to be great. So like
Sure.
I'm trying. I've actually talked to co-packers already. I have a whole plan once I figure out like where I want to go, what direction I want to go when I get a recipe. Like I already know like how to get it and get my first bottle to me ready to go and be able to like start putting out into the world, but it's got to be perfect first. And then I have a plan to like take it to those meet and greets. So it's all kind of kicked off on that meet and greet. The guys next to me, so this is Louisiana people. You heard me say this a lot because they've been so supportive of me. But when I came there, that's who I finally got to meet all these people in person. And they took me right under their wing. When I got there, they already had my whole stand set up for me. It was this guy, his name is Rusty's. He's very popular in the southern regions. He's got a seasoning line, and I'm watching him, and he's cooking, and people would come up, and they eat the food, and they're like, oh, this is really good. And he's like, I made it with that. And then they go buy it, and I'm like, that is genius. That's genius. Go out there, make the food, give it to people, and be like, wow, it's really good. I made it with that. Let me buy that then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like, so kind of get yourself out there. And again, to me, it's not even about the money right away. It's getting yourself out there. That's what you need to do.
Yep.
I already got a plan to go talk to Hy-Vee. Like, go talk to these people and figure out how to get stuff in there. I just got to figure out the ingredients first. It's tough.
Well, yeah, as someone that cooks, obviously you got to figure out, you're going to know what tastes good, at least in your mind. And then you obviously know what is already in a lot of these ingredients. Like a lot of people, like you said, they don't know when you read the ingredients list. The first thing that's on there is usually the heaviest of what it's in there. And then it goes to the least amount. But you talked about merchandise as well, that you had your merchandise on. What kind of merchandise do you all have other than I see you got a hat, you got a shirt at the moment?
Yep.
What else do you got? I think you said something about a cutting board.
Yeah, so everything, before I get into what I have, everything I do is local. It's called Island City Designs.
Yep.
It's
Terry?
Klinecki? David. It's Island City Designs, right?
Yeah, the green.
Right next to Anacabby's and Anacabby's
yeah,
in
I think
Goodview.
so. I think so.
Yeah. So he does all my stuff.
Okay.
He's made the shirt, so we have the shirt. He's made the hat. We have a tumbler.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then my personal favorite is the cutting board. I use this thing all the time. It is solid wood,
Sure.
so probably don't use it for raw chicken. I did, and people made fun of me. So,
So do they get all that stuff for you and then put your label on?
Yeah. So
You
what's
get to choose
been
it?
really cool about it is, so we actually redesigned this label too. I have one of the first versions. Now the other version kind of makes this pop a little bit more.
Okay.
But we have a website that you go through, and you have. So it's in my link tree. You go in, you hit the merch button, and you do it by order. And so he does it for a lot of different people around town. He's made different things for different people. I believe he did some. I saw you talking to Cece on on Facebook.
Yep.
So I think he's done some stuff for her. So he's got all like, he's got blank shirts, and then he just like laser engraves these. So once you order them, he just does it to order. So that's been what's really nice about it. I started with another hat. And I love them. They were great. They did hand stitched hats. The only problem was they were like, I had to buy it up front, and then I had to like sell it from there. And I'm like, I don't have the money to just buy a bunch of hats and like hope that anything happens with them. Whereas like he came in and he was like, yeah, I'll just make a website, and then if people order, I'll make it to order.
And then do you get a cut of that, obviously?
Yeah. I get like $5 if you order a cutting board or anything. If you order anything, I get like $5 off of it. Which again, to me, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I wouldn't care if there was anything that was coming out of it. To me, getting people to wear this and go around and walk around town and like all around, that's where
That's
you
the
know,
idea, yeah.
like money will come. Like it'll come. Like it's more getting your name out there and like not worrying about the small stuff right away. And like I say, small stuff like money's huge, but at the same time, it's like that'll come. Like get your name out there first, and then things will start to roll. You know, with a lot of my partnerships. With people. So Bacon Salt's another one that I've kind of partnered up with, and Heart Country Meats, they're local meat people. They've given me a lot of meat and stuff, and all of it's been like product. And to me, I'm like, that's perfectly fine. Like that's kind of how it starts, you know?
Yep. Well, and it helps you out because then you don't have to go off and eventually, I mean, it's if they give you the meat, you don't have to go out and buy the meat. So it's technically kind of money in itself, but it's not money in itself. So that's really helpful. Yeah. So as we're starting to wind down here, I want to ask you, how are you keeping all your balance with the life and family and all that? Because it sounds like you have 3 kids?
Yes, I have 3 kids.
And a wife, and then you're doing this, and you're posting like 10 times a day. Yep. I mean, how are you balancing all that?
A big thing that I've found, so I only post to Facebook the 10 to 11 times a day because that's been my biggest platform. And then I've also found on other platforms that if you kind of delve off into different stuff, it actually hurts you. Like you want to stay with what you're doing, you know, like, but for some reason, Facebook's like, yeah, bring it on, bring it all. I love it. So what's been really nice is I have found that, you know, there's an app called Meta, because like Meta owns Facebook and Instagram, and they have a Meta Business Creator. You can go in and schedule all your posts. So I do it like in the morning before work. I'll go in. I usually wake up pretty early. I've been trying to get back into the gym lately, so I'm up at like 4 a.m, get into the gym, get home, take a shower, and I got like hour and a half, 2 hours before I got to be anywhere, an hour usually before I got to get the kids up. So I'll sit and I'll schedule posts all day long, and then it'll just drop as I'm at work and as I'm doing things. The post will just go out and just drop on their own. Now I got to figure this stuff out beforehand, but the more and more you do it, the more you're like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I'm one of those people who's like eating and you're like, I got to take a picture of it first, you know, like it just, especially if I'm cooking, I'm like, I got to take a picture of this first. When it comes to cooking, like I said, the voiceovers have been really huge I don't have to clear out the house anymore. Like I can do like close up little like filming of what I'm doing. So it doesn't matter if chaos is ensuing behind me, which is all the time. I can, you know, I cut all that out. And I edit in, you know, different things, or if my kids want to be involved, getting them involved has been really huge. But it's been tough. It's tough to balance it all. I'm very much a person who likes to stay busy, right? So I guess a thing that I've given up is like I used to game a lot. You know, I used to like watch a lot of movies. Like I don't really do any of that anymore. Like I come home and like it's just like I'm a dad. I do this. You know, maybe I'll film something quick. I like to make shorts now, like I said. So instead of making this 20-minute video, that was my first video ever, and YouTube's like 20 minutes long, and like it did nothing. And I'm like, well, who wants to watch a 20-minute cooking video? I do, but
not everyone.
Everybody's me, you know. Yeah. And like a lot of people want to see 50 seconds. They want to see you start and finish, try it, okay, cool. And like the people that are gonna cook it, they want it all to be condensed into that. Yeah. So, but making a 51-second video is a lot simpler. Like I'm not setting up. I do have like a whole ring light, a whole system and stuff like that, but I just so rarely use it because a lot of it's just in my hand and being able to do it. So like what I did was essentially is I kind of like the more and more you do it, the more you get into being able to do it efficiently, right? And so that's been huge. And then the scheduling post has been huge. And then the more simplistic meals has been a lot better of time savers. And if I am going to do something that's more complicated, I'll save it for a weekend when I have more time. And I, you know, maybe I'll have to give up some sleep.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's, you know, anyone that's started anything up, it sounds like you don't get much sleep. So
right,
and this is your baby. So as when you just started this like a year ago, and you just said that you just turned 35, so you're about 34. I mean, it sounds like it's never too late to start something. I mean, I'm 38 now, so I was about 36 when I started this podcast, and I was in a whole different field. I was in the teaching field. Now I'm just strictly real estate, and then I'm doing this as well.
Yeah.
And I want to make this is like my baby, and I know that's how you probably feel about yours as well. So I feel like it's never too late to start something that you're passionate about, because let's just say you started this 10 years ago. Where would you be now? But you can't think back that far.
Right.
You got to think of, this is where I'm at now, and my life had a different plan at that point.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel about that? Like, you just started, and I feel like you're pretty successful, because you're doing, I feel, pretty well. And it seems like you must have looked up a lot of the things and picked a lot of people's brains, because you seem to have it down to almost a science of what you're doing. So
yeah, exactly. No, you're exactly right. It's never too late to start something. I do have this conversation with people a lot, and I'm like, if you have a dream, chase it. There's no such thing as it's too late. Mm-hmm. There's content creators out there that did this at like 60. They're 60, 65 years old, and they're doing quite well. Like it's whatever your passion is. Maybe it's not content creating. Maybe it's fitness. Maybe it's like whatever that may be. Do it. Start. If I was to give anybody advice, my number one advice is just to start. Put yourself out there. Like that's the biggest thing, is just to get yourself in front of a camera if that's what you want to do. Because I go back and watch my first video, I'm like, man, I was nervous. Dude,
I watched my first episode of this, and it was cringy. It was my wife and I, and we were. It's actually funny. My other buddy came in. He was like episode number 2 or something like that. He thought he was just coming in just to test out the microphones with me, and it turned into like a 2-hour thing. And then I'm like. He's like, well, I didn't know that was what we were doing, but I went back and watched some of those. I was like, oh, those are cringy.
Right? But that's it. Like, just do it. Put yourself out there. I mean, that's how you're going to get better at it. That's how, post it. Just post the stuff. But, I mean, again, it doesn't matter. Like, I was actually just at the dentist the other day, and I was talking to her, and she was like, I've been wanting to do this business of, charcuterie boards. I can't ever say that word. But,
charcuterie?
There you go. The meats and cheeses. And I'm like, do it. Like, it's scary, but you're never gonna find out, and you're always gonna live in regret if you don't just do it. So my advice is always to just start.
Yeah. Otherwise, you live with a bunch of what ifs.
Right.
What if I would have done this? What if I would have done that?
Yeah. Who wants to do that?
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Now, my last question I have for you is, what is your favorite meal to make? I feel like we haven't talked about that yet, of what is your absolute favorite one. Maybe it's because of the way it tastes, or maybe it's just because you enjoy making it. Is there one that stands out in your mind?
Anytime I think about it, it's always just a barbecue chicken, which is there's a bunch of different ways to do it, whether I've smoked it, grilled it. I found a new way that I pan fry it and get a nice sear on it, and then I'll throw it in the oven at 400 degrees for 10-15 minutes. I love chicken thighs. I love chicken.
So do I.
It's always been which is great when I am losing weight, that I love chicken, because I could eat chicken every single day. It's got to be a little bit different, but I could eat chicken just all the time. And for me, I'm going to eat chicken thighs because they might have a little bit more fat in them, but they taste better, and I'll just eat a little bit less, know?
Sure.
But yeah, that's always been my go-to, just chicken anything. Otherwise, if I'm not saying my spaghetti that I make, I've made that so many times. It was there's a reason it was my first ever episode out there. I used to make a jarred, take the jar Prego spaghetti and just kind of throw it in some noodles and be like, there's spaghetti. And then I realized taking tomato sauce and tomato paste and putting it into a dish with different meats and veggies and seasonings, and then letting it go for 8 hours and let it kind of low and slow and build this flavor, and then you eat it and you're like, holy Hannah, that's one of my most favorite meals. And it's just because it's so good, and it just takes so much time, and it's just you could just tell that there's passion into it, because you just care, and there's just so many ways to make spaghetti. When you try that one, at least in my opinion, you're like, wow, this is what spaghetti could taste like.
Sure, it's like an artwork for you.
Right.
Well, Brandon, we've sat down, we've talked about your journey through sobriety. We've talked about your average cooking channel or average dad cooking channel. We've talked about the business that you want to start, partnerships, where you're going. Is there something that we missed at all in this interview? I don't want to leave it short if there's something we missed.
Yeah, no, I think we've done a lot of it. If I was gonna leave it on anybody, that's been always the biggest thing. We kind of just started talking about it, but to really drive it home, follow your dreams. You know what I mean? Like that's like there is no such thing as like you can't do it. Like you can, no matter what your dream it is too big or too small, and whether it's content creation or running a marathon or whatever, start doing it. Start small and just follow it. And you can, it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. I mean, in our area, outside of Jeremy, I don't know anybody that does like the content creation,
right. Not locally, not really.
Right. It's like, and it just depending on what it's just not like, you start to get to other states and you're like, so a lot of people might think like, oh, maybe I'm just not in the right area. No, just do it. You know what I mean? And like, in my opinion, like if it's a less saturated market, get into it. Like that's kind of how I feel about like the seasoning thing too, is like it's not extremely saturated like it is in different states and different regions where they have all these different barbecue rubs and you have this, that, and other thing. In Minnesota, we have it from other people. If you go to Hy-Vee, there's stuff from California. There's stuff, we have Danos. We have this. The only one that I know of that's local is Bacon Salt. And you can kind of see his stuff. So I'm like, it's not a saturated market. Why not get into it?
Sure.
That's the biggest thing to me. If you want to be sober, do that. If you want to find out how, or like whatever, there's a bunch of resources out there. Or follow me and like read the story, read the journey. I love posting about it. I don't try to like get way too much into it just because like I don't want to like bring people down or whatever, but I do post about it pretty frequently of like, when something comes up, like I'll probably post after Christmas of being like, that was tough. Christmas has always been a big trigger for me, or my birthday. Like God, I used to get drunk on my birthday. Now I have, a Sprite. and like a lot of times I'll get Sprite and grenadine, which is like a kitty cocktail. My wife gives me so much crap about that, because you're getting a kitty cocktail. They'll put it on the bill as a kitty cocktail. I'm like, no, it's an adult cocktail. Dang it. See the cherries? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, just no matter what you're dreaming of, whether it's sobriety, whether it's being big, whether it's that promotion at work, do it. Start being that person, work towards it. You don't have to be the best. You kind of got to outwork everybody else,
Yeah, sometimes they say, hard work beats out talent any time of the year. But yeah, this has been really fun learning about your background in this whole, you are obviously you're into the cooking, but you're also into that digital creator market space, which is what I'm kind of into. Even though it's a podcast, you got to promote somehow. So it's really cool to learn about your journey as well. And actually, you're the last podcast of 2025. That's so awesome. This will be the last one that drops for the end of the year. And you'll be at the 2-year party, hopefully, if you can make it.
Sweet.
So that'd be great. But thank you again. And Brandon, can you tell everyone where they can find you, all your links that you would like to, and I'll drop them in the show notes below. So Brandon, you tell them all where you can find you, and I'll put them all down.
Yep. So I post everything that I post that we've been talking about to Facebook. Everything else, my YouTube, my Instagram, and my TikTok, are all recipe based. They're just my videos. I've shortened it down to just being that, just because that's what seems to be like it. So if you want to see the sobriety journey, the fitness journey, the family journey, come to Facebook. Everything's under the Average Dad Cooking channel. When you go into my link tree, it has everything. It has, where you can find me. I'm also on like Lemonade and Threads, but I kind of gave up on those. Lemonade's just a strange place to be, and then Threads is like I don't know. It's just an interesting social media. It's just more like talking, So I'm like, so the big four: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And then through my link tree, you can find the cool stuff that I have. I have the merch. I'm a Walmart creator. That's been a really cool type thing where if you just use my link and go to Walmart, you can get anything at all. It doesn't cost you anything more, and I get a kickback from that.
That's awesome.
Been pretty cool. I also have a Z Grills affiliate link and a Dow Strong affiliate link. Both of them are Dow Strong's like fancy knives. They're a little bit more spendy, but they're awesome. I have videos on them with more videos coming, so you can kind of see that and how I work with them. And then my pellet grill has just been amazing. So that's been kind of all my big stuff. And then I have a bacon salt link on there. So if you go in there, you use my link, you save 10% on your order, and you get to support local.
That's awesome. Well, again, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing your journey all the way from the top to the bottom. And I do want to give you a big cheers before we go. And also, don't forget to, on both of us, Go like, share, subscribe, and follow us wherever the content is. And this has been another episode of Brews and Cruise. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2026. Cheers.